Okay, so let's get started. So this webinar is especially for you if you're a high achieving woman or a man who wants to reclaim their health and happiness and also innate power. You're looking for a proven way to go from overwhelmed and unfulfilled to living a life filled with glow and spark. You might be feeling burnt out or exhausted or stressed in your body and mind. You might be feeling anxious or hiding and stuck. And if you're feeling stuck, you're probably on that cycle where you're frustrated and you just don't know where or how to break that sort of stuck. You could also be dealing with a health challenge such as autoimmune disease or an inflammatory condition. You might have some negative self-talk and self-sabotage going on. So the inner critic that might say you don't know how, or you're stuck in comparison or judgment of yourself and others. It might show up as self-doubt. You might be suffering from perfectionism, and perfectionism is one of the biggest blocks I notice come up. And permission to really make mistakes is part of the opportunity here. You're sick of playing small, you've got this fear of failure, success, judgment, future, and fear of the unknown. You might be mentally unable to switch off, or your work-life balance isn't there. So my goal for you today is to really give you a step-by-step formula on how you can go from overwhelmed and exhausted to living a life filled with glowing health and happiness, just so that you're thriving every day. And once you've got this, you'll be really regained your energy and in fact learned how to tap into an endless supply of that available to you anytime you need it. You'll have shattered your limiting stories and moved through your life in a completely authentic and new way. You won't be surviving, you'll be thriving every day. What you'll discover is we're going to be clarifying your vision today. We're going to unblock what is getting in the way so you can really take strategic action that is aligned to your truth. Because the clearer you are with what you want to bring in, the easier it is to step into it. And as we clarify your vision, all the unconscious things and blocks will come up to stop you. You don't even know it's there until we identify them. And so today we're going to identify part of what is blocking you so that you're able to take those strategic actions forward. Then we'll dive into your health and happiness mastery and the number one thing that will have you reclaim and cultivate boundless energy. I'm going to cover a lot of powerful information in this hour and a bit and walk you through those shifts today. So it might feel like I'm on copy, but I really want you to get the most out of it. So if you said yes to any of these, please feel free to type that in the chat box as to what you relate to in any of these. And if you stay till the end, there's no sales pitch here. I've just got two cool giveaways. One is a process that I've actually developed that will really help you break free of the limiting stories that you might be carrying. Right, so those of you who don't know me, it's a little bit about who I am. And if you've never heard of me before, I basically help people. And the way that shows up in my career is really supporting them doing the transformational work. So I'm an integrative wellbeing coach, life mentor, and consultant, and I've dedicated my life to the transformational work. I'm a writer and speaker and the founder of Happiness Lifestyle. I lead many transformational group intensives and workshops, as well as mindfulness retreats, both nationally and internationally. And I've basically helped hundreds of people discover their true authentic selves with an emphasis on awareness, health, and healing. So this is Astro, my husky, and he's 10 years old. He's actually a rescue pup, but we love the beach together. We actually live on the Sunshine Coast, so we're quite close to really beautiful part of Australia. So I just want to share a little bit about my story, just to give you a background about where I come from. But this was me 11 years ago. And in 2007, I became chronically ill. I was at the top of my career. I had 700 people working for me, and it led me to burnout, exhaustion, fatigue, and I got hit with a whole host of health issues. Migraines, Graves' disease, Meniere's, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, not to mention debilitating anxiety. I was sick all of the time. So for me, feeling fabulously healthy was so far-fetched that I didn't actually think it was possible. And I went through months of grueling tests, MRI, CT scans, ENT specialists, audiologists, you name it. And finally, after months of sick, when I got my diagnosis that I had not one, but two incurable diseases, which is Meniere's disease and also autoimmune Graves' disease, there was the result of there's nothing we can do. And with that, he wanted to operate on my thyroid and give me radioactive iodine for the rest of my life. And so it was in that moment I really realized that this was not okay. And I said, I'm good. We're leaving with what we came here. This wasn't an aha moment. It was really a smack around the head with a cold dose of reality. My life needed to change. And I knew what I wanted. I was in my mind about what I wanted, but I wasn't doing much about it. I was stuck in comparison. I was hiding. I felt alone. And I didn't want people to see that I was struggling. I didn't want to step up to the person that I knew I could be. I was really neglecting myself. My health was down the rabbit hole, and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore. I'm just really paralyzed because I wasn't where I wanted to be in my mind. And my mind really made up a lot of things about my self-worth, thinking something was wrong with me and I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And so if you guys can relate, I would love for you to share in the chat box. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that went through this. Maybe you're feeling stuck in comparison or not where you want to be, or you're hiding, or maybe you're dealing with exhaustion and burnout. Oh, yes. Thank you, Donna. You can relate. Really, really good. So it was from my frustration that I decided to do something about it, because the slower you go, the faster you go forward in your life. And so here's what happened next. I decided to become the CEO of my life, and my transformational journey began. I furthered my studies. I applied the wisdom of the world's most renowned and best holistic health practitioners and life mentors in the world. I personally invested thousands of dollars in personal coaching and development for myself. And it really took a serious dance with the other side just to realize that there must be more to this life than battling through day by day, fighting myself, every day. And so I realized the way I was living my life and I was treating my body was not okay. And I left the doctor's office and I questioned everything. I questioned my health. I questioned my life. I questioned what I was eating. I questioned my entire lifestyle. And I changed everything I was doing. And then interesting things started to happen. I started getting better. I even lost weight and gained so much more energy. And I was like, wow, this disease is coming in handy. So my disease was telling me that I needed to make changes. That was feedback in my system saying you need to redirect. And then my body started healing, and then everything else started healing with that. And if I couldn't be cured, could I still be healthy? Could I participate in my wellness instead of participating in my illness? Yes, I could. Could I choose love over fear? Loving my body, loving my life, instead of fearing my body and fearing my life. See, here's the thing about fear. It's very useful, right? It gets us to the hospital when we're feeling sick. It tells us not to go down that dangerous road. But fear cannot become your fact. Fear can inform you, but not define you. Fear can awaken you, but not cripple you. So I did my best every day to choose love. So within months, my sick had gone, and using an integrative approach, I really healed myself. My autoimmune issues literally disappeared. I did a complete 180 on sick, and I opened myself to this new life. I went back to the doctors. This is what happened. So he tested me again, and he couldn't believe it. He said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. Everything has changed. All of your diseases have gone. There's nothing wrong with you. It's like you've always been normal. So today was a really, really big, beautiful moment for me when I left that final testing and the doctor's office. Today, I quite literally live in happiness. I have gone to the dark side of fear, and I've emerged stronger than ever before. My burnout, my fatigue, my overwhelm, all of it has gone and is replaced with so much energy, balance, and vitality. So this year actually marks 11 years since that time, and 11 years since I began my journey and also my work in serving others. Then 2 years ago, I decided to walk the Camino de Santiago. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's actually a 500-mile pilgrimage across the entire width of Spain. And it was there that I really experienced a profound, deep awakening that enlivens and enriches the way I move through life today. And it was this journey back to my soul and back to my heart that was truly life-changing for me. And it was a journey through the mind, the body, and the soul. And it stripped me of everything that wasn't my truth, all of everything that I was carrying over the last 35 years, until there was nothing there but me. And so I ended my pilgrimage at Finisterre and Murcia, which is the end of the world. And I took nothing but a backpack, a pair of boots, and an open mind. I walked for peace, I walked in peace, and I experienced the sweet spot of extraordinary freedom and sustainable lasting change. And so it was there that I really developed what I call the 5 pillars of transformation. And this is what I'm going to share with you today, just so that you can really rise and thrive in your own life without you guys needing to walk 1,000 kilometers to get that. So this is really beautiful words from one of my clients, Francine. Her entire life has changed. We're talking with someone who deals with brain cancer, who has gone through so much, and she is thriving today. She is healed on so many levels, and she was going through actually very challenging times and a tough transition. She is just doing incredible today. So I really, really loved working with her, and we've really developed a beautiful connection with each other. Okay, so I want you to think about what for you, if you could wave a magic wand, what do you want to have happen for you in your life? Because it's all very possible. Now we'll move you through to the 5 steps. I'm just checking to see the chat. Anybody is sharing there? Thanks for sharing, Luke. Okay, so today we're going to cover the 5 steps, and this is the 5 pillars of transformation I was just mentioning. So really about energizing your life. That's the first step, because if you don't have energy, you're not going to be able to be anything within your business, within your life, within anything that's operating in any area of your life. Once you have optimal energy, this is what's going to help you step up into all of the other areas that you're so wanting to do. And so that's the very first step. Next is really clarifying your vision, really envisioning what you're being called to step into, especially as we're coming into 2019. And third is really empowering your mindset. So this is really exploring the mindset and the beliefs that you have and unblocking what is getting in the way so that you're really able to take strategic action that is aligned to your truth. Because if we don't highlight these things and we don't highlight the blocks that are coming up, you're not going to be able to really move up to the next level that you're being called into. Fourth is embracing you. So this is where we really generate the vitality and balance and nourish you on all 4 levels, which is mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And finally, emerging into your wholeness and your greatness and living from that place in your heart to create true happiness and freedom in your life moving forward so that you can then elevate your impact into the world. Okay, so let's dive in. So step 1 is all about energizing your health. This is laying solid foundations in cultivating self-nourishing practices and just really getting a supportive schedule and preparation for you as you take those steps forward. Because energy really produces energy. The more energy you feel, the more physically better you feel, the more mentally better you feel, everything in your life, the next level that you take in your life, everything will start taking care of itself. And so the very first thing we need to do is get you to practice some basics to really optimize your energy and your health. And here's the thing, most people know what's good for them, but they don't do it. And so the very first thing I would recommend is a morning routine. And don't dismiss this because of its simplicity. It's no coincidence that Oprah, Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins, many wildly successful, happy, energetic people swear by their morning rituals as being their catalyst for success in their life. This is the missing link. And so conventional wisdom will really prescribe a pill for your exhaustion, your anxiety, your depression. And this is just a Band-Aid. So this having a morning routine is really an alternative proven method. And wellness doesn't need to add any more confusion to your plate. It can be really as simple as the small things. And so what that might look like is what I call wide awake. Because the first 60 minutes of your day when you wake up is what is going to set the tone for the entire day. So this could look like setting your alarm and leaving it on the other side of the room, right? Or immediately throwing water on your face, or getting up and downing a whole glass of lemon water, because overnight, dehydration really can add to your fatigue and your tiredness. And this will really flush out the liver and the toxins from your liver and really wake you up and wake your liver up so that you're more alert. Okay, and the next thing is introducing some form of powerful practice that you can fill your cup up. And what this does is it really grounds you. It really brings you presence to yourself. It connects you back to your truth, so that you're showing up to the world responsive and not reactive. So you're showing up to the world from presence and not 13 different things on your plate, so that you're showing up to the world more powerful. And so what powerful practice can be might be meditation. So even 5, 10, 15 minutes of that, following your breath, or there's amazing YouTube meditations that you can look up. There's also a Headspace app that you can download for yourself. You could do affirmations, really affirming what you want to bring in today, setting your intention of what you're calling in. You can do a visualization of how you're wanting to see your life and how you want to see your day plan out and the goals that you're wanting to meet. This can look like exercise and movement, not just for physical, but movement to really clear the fogginess in your brain, to really move the energy through your body and what you need. It can come in the form of journaling to really also clear that. We have 80,000 thoughts a day. 80,000, 60,000 of those thoughts are disempowering. So even if you get up and journal for 10 minutes just to clear the cobwebs of your mind, that's going to be really powerful for you to do. And also deep breathing. Deep breathing, we all forget to breathe. So that will really center and ground you. And finally, having a supportive schedule. And this isn't about time management. It's really knowing where your priorities are. It's honoring your morning. It's honoring your activities, not your time. It's prioritizing what is important to you. Creating that white space is so essential. And don't apologize for it. That's really important for that. So knowing that, and also knowing your triggers, because stress is so hard on physiology, and the number one cause of any health disease or any inflammation that's happening, right, is caused by stress. Food is always secondary. So I have 3 starting points, and this is how I really began to break out of the overwhelm, the fatigue, the anxiety, all of it. And it first starts with awareness. You have to know what your indicators are in yourself, because it's different for everyone. So what are your indicators that you need to slow down? What are your indicators that you've been taken over by fear? What are your indicators that your mind is ruining you in this moment? What are your indicators that you're not in your power? What are your indicators that you're running on empty and ignoring your own needs and not replenishing yourself? So just let me know in the chat box what's coming up for you. So my indicators are being snappy, resentful, exhausted, overwhelmed. When I become very emotional, I can't switch off. So when I can't switch off, even Medi and yoga don't help me. So when I have migraines, when my jaw is really tired, or my neck and shoulders, like that's a huge indicator for me. Exhausted, emotional, hiding. Yes. Good, Donna, you can relate. Exactly. What are some of the other indicators that are messages telling you, hey, we need to slow down, we need a break, we need some space? This is our body saying, please listen to me. Procrastination, yep. So when you're tired and cranky, thanks, Lukey. Beautiful. So life is giving you a tap on the shoulder, and if you don't listen, you're going to get hit with a sledgehammer, much like I did. So the second step now is to really interrupt the pattern. The old pattern might be to push forward, ignore it, speed up. You work in the middle of the night, you don't take breaks, you comfort eat, you take medication to suppress the pain, keep going. If that's your old tendency, then you need to interrupt that pattern and do something differently. And I had that come to me and I wanted to speed up, and my body tapped me on the shoulder and said, no, Rosie, you're not going to do that. Rather than speed up, you're going to slow down. That's the old model. This is the new way. This is the new way of leadership in anything as we move forward. Because when you wake up out of the hypnosis story of your mind and you come back in your power, then you can say, okay, I can witness what is really going on here, but I'm going to consciously choose to do something different. And when we interrupt the pattern where we consciously choose to do something different that will nurture us, that will support us, that will calm our mind, that will help us, you're going to be so much more effective and more productive moving forward. When you're overwhelmed, tired, or stressed, the solution is almost always less. Get rid of something, lots of somethings. And the very moment you don't want to take a break because you think you have no time is the very moment where you need to take that break. And that's the biggest thing I've noticed. So I'm going to tell you really simply today, and I'm not going to take the morning to tell you how to increase your energy, but why to, because you know how to. 80% of success is psychology and only 20% is mechanical. It's the beliefs you have that is guiding your every decision. And essentially, it's these beliefs that are creating your roadblocks to everything you want in your life, including the vision, which is what we're going to talk about next. But if you make a different decision, you'll take a different action, no? And if you take action, will you get different results? Yes or no? Of course you will. So it's really about you making decisions. Decisions about your health, about your business, about your life, and how important taking care of you is going to be from now on. It's all a choice. And I choose most of the time those things that give me more energy. And when you experience that level of vitality, you never want to go back. And so the first step here is to create the base, right? And then you want to make it sustainable. You don't believe me, you put this to the test, you challenge it. And then once you create that base, you challenge it and you grow. Then you've got to celebrate and you reward yourself, because this is positive reinforcement for your neural pathways. It's acknowledging what you're doing. It's telling your brain, oh, we're on the right track, keep going, right? And that's going to answer your base because you feel better and stronger and you want to do even more good things. You want to eat better, you want to play better. And when you start working out and you get into it, you love it. And then your base gets even stronger. So you can take on an even bigger challenge in your life and work. And sure enough, you reward yourself and you celebrate it some more, and it becomes how the rich get richer, the happy get happier, and the healthy get healthier. And the poor get poorer, the depressed get more depressed, and the unhealthy get more unhealthy. It's momentum. So today, it's that process of momentum. So I just want to share with you a really beautiful case study about Cherie. And Cherie came to me in physical pain. And as a mother of two, she really always put herself last. She worked hard in her business and in her kids' life. And she really reached a point where most days her own poor health was preventing her from being able to fully show up to her life and her family. And we really did what we call the number one, a 1 to 9 ladder of vibrancy. And this is where we integrated how she could be more productive in her work, which is taking regular breaks, so that she was able to have that high energy at the end of the day. You know that when you close your laptop at the end of the day, right, if you've still got high energy, you did good that day. And so we got her to that point. We got her drinking water, because 75% of our body is made up of water. 3 square meals a day. I'm not even 4 or 5 meals. I think that's a myth, that metabolism thing. Working out, moving your body, like I said. Transition mastery. So really in between each work or in between each sort of task, doing that transition where you're releasing and you're releasing the tension and you're setting the intention. Sleeping. I mean, when you sleep, your brain does this kind of dishwater action that cleans it up. But to get to that point, you need sleep. So all of these things is what Cherie and I worked on, and we really shifted a lot of her energy and her mind, and she really came to me fatigued and exhausted. And I remember telling her, you're not tired, you've just been suffocating the last few hours, because she's not breathing. She was in so much stress. And so I want to invite you now, and I'll just run a poll to see where you guys are at in your energy, just to give me a clear idea of where we're going. So these are some questions I would love for you to answer for yourself right now. How energetic are you? Do you sometimes wake feeling flat and tired? Yes or no? Do you wake up maybe feeling unmotivated? Yes or no? Would you like to feel fabulously healthy and buzzing with energy every day? So I'll just see the votes that come in. Wow, yeah. So I'll share this with you guys so you can see. It's about nearly all of you have answered yes to these. So we know where we need to get. You know the area that you need to work on within yourself. And so if you just do one small thing toward that, it's not the big changes, it's only the small steps that you need to take that will give you the big results. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's move on to step 2. Now that we've got your energy to a level where you're optimizing that, where you're able to, you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling that motivation. All right, I'll just close the poll, just a second. I'm not sure if I've done that. There we go. Okay, so step 2 is really about clarity. And this is envisioning your life. This is envisioning the success that you want in your business or your health. Because success comes from within. It first happens inside of you. All outer change that we make in our life must first be preceded by inner change, because life is a mirror. Whatever is happening in our outer reality is all a reflection of what is going on inside. It all starts in the mind. And I love this quote by Plutarch. He said, what we achieve inwardly will change our outer reality. And so here is where we really want to aim high and dream big. Shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And many people don't set big goals for themselves, as they're afraid they won't reach them, right? Instead, they lower their standards and then they settle for something that's not even truly what they want, because they're scared of failure, or maybe they're even scared of the success and what that will look like. And so I want to encourage you to really aim high and dream big in this. And this is really about declaring what you want wholeheartedly and fearlessly, and then doing whatever you want or whatever you can to create that. And so you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing it down. When clients tell me the illusion of what they don't know they want, that's an illusion. You know what you want. You may have limiting beliefs clouding your clarity, but you know what you want. You don't need to know the end when you take the first step. There's a lot of power in making a decision. And many are afraid to want what they want because they're scared they'll end up disappointed. And we're going to cover that today as well. But desire and attachment are two different things. Can you see that? You can want something without being attached to it. And so the next strategy is to really have one new goal at a time. Don't jump from one thing to another. This is the key to success, to get clear and focused. You can write all your ideas in a book, but stay focused. Then finally, we want to visualize to actualize. And here's a secret. Life is a mirror. Rather trying to get to a future of something you don't have, you want to identify something you have now. You want to identify the qualities, embody them now, and be that person you want to be then, now. Because when you smile in the mirror, you'll watch the mirror smile right back. Because research shows that the body doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy. That's why athletes have been using this secret weapon for decades. And so just to support you in your vision, I'll take you through a bit of a visualization now. And I would love for you to have a paper and pen in front of you while we do this process, just to see what will come up as a result of it. Just closing down your eyes and planting your feet firmly on the ground. Let's just get present with me now. Just taking a deep breath in and letting that go. Just anchoring here in this moment. Taking another deep breath in. And just taking in this moment and the sensations that are here. And now have a sense of you having arrived in your life right now. Go there. It's really arriving. Notice what it's like in your body to feel confident, to have turned a challenge around, whatever's happening in your life, to feel so free and energetic and vibrant and so fulfilled as you take those steps. Just notice what that is like in your body. And identify the things you love to do. Maybe you don't do them because you're not ready yet. Maybe it's going for that position, or taking the next level of your business, or writing that book or that project. What's knocking on your heart? Let yourself want what you want. It's okay to claim that. And now, paper to pen, what are some of those impossible goals? The things you would do if you knew you couldn't fail, if you knew you were 100% supported. What does that look like? List them. What's the larger vision you're being called to step into? What does that feel like? What does it look like? Get specific. What are you doing? What kind of impact are you having? And please feel free to share in the chat box. I would love to hear some answers, and I think that sharing will inspire others joining us as well. But the clearer you are, the better. So just start wherever you are. Okay, and you can come back to this later. And you might have noticed things come up that have held us back during this process, and we're going to work through that today. Blocks will help you get to your next level of success and happiness if you know how to use them. If you have the right tools, you'll more easily be able to let them go. This is shifting you into more empowered ways of being. And I'm not interested in you relying on something outside of yourself. I'm interested in you empowering you with that life tools and to support you in taking those strategic actions in what you truly desire. So we'll navigate what comes up as we move toward your dreams. And I know it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame, and that's why having someone outside of this can be really supportive. Okay, if anyone wants to share, please feel free to share. This beautiful testimonial from Anna. Anna, who is now in Dubai, she is a coach now, but when she started out, she had no idea, no clear direction about what she wanted. She had so many blocks in the way of getting her business off the ground, really following her heart's desire. She was working in hospitality at that time, and she is now really following her heart. She's in the Air Force. She is also a coach in the Air Force, in the Air Force, and she's really feeling confident and kicking it. She is really doing a lot of things that are giving her the life she really loves. Really love our time together. Okay, so I'll just check if anybody shared anything around there. Don't know. Write my book, share my story, do videos for both businesses, speak on stage. Beautiful. Really, really good. Donna, thank you for sharing. And so we'll navigate those blocks as we move through now. Okay, so I'll run another poll and let's just see your clarity, where you're at there. What comes up for you around that? So do you feel clear about who you are and what you want moving forward? And are you happy with her or him? Are you happy with who you are and what you're creating? And be honest, you can't change what you can't see. And finally, do you have the clarity and direction about where you're going? Or is that something you need to focus on and work on in your life? Just wait a couple of minutes for results to come in. Okay, so it's like 50-50 looking. Let's wait for a few more minutes. We can see that 70% of you guys, I'll just share this with you, are not clear. You can see you're not alone in this, right? Okay, so we know where we need to work on in really setting those concrete goals for you and your intentions as you move forward in 2019. And then from there, break it down and move back or work backward in that timeline. Okay, so let's keep moving. So step 3 is really about your mindset. And the only thing really standing between you and your goals is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself as to why you haven't achieved it yet. Sorry, I'll just close that poll. I love this quote by Jordan Belfort. And so here we're going to uncover and overcome the fears that are holding you back so that you can move through it. And we're going to examine your mindset, and then we're going to try and shift some of those patterns of thinking that are really creating your stress, struggle, and anxiety. Because you think it's your health that's causing all this, it's not. The negative mind is what is doing all of that to your health. Your health, your life, everything that is happening is a reflection of your internal state. And so we want you to be responsible for your energy, the energy that you're putting into the space of your life. And this comes around money. This comes to relationships. This comes to yourself and all the limitations that are holding you back in doing that. And so what we want to now do is really identify the biggest blocks that keep you from creating your vision that you just identified. So what thoughts or beliefs are holding you back? Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's people-pleasing or comparison. Maybe it's telling yourself you're not ready yet. Maybe there's a fear of failure. So I would love for you to share what's coming up for you around that. Blocks are totally okay. And I'm glad you're starting to identify all this, because you can use this tool to really support you. Fear of failure? Yep, thanks, Loki. That's a big one. We all have this. A bit of all? Yes. Thanks, Estelle, for sharing. Really, really good. We can use this tool to support you now as we move forward. So essentially, the not enough lack perspective, but all your blocks down to the core come to this perspective, and it projects onto all areas of your life. And really at the heart of those misunderstandings is that there's a fear that you won't be loved, accepted, or valued. And there are so many reasons why people get stuck in their blocks. But you getting unstuck is the #1 reason to help you really thrive in everything you want to create. And so the old way is to fix ourselves. The new way is to be with the blocks, and through that, accept ourselves. Many coaches will try and clear the blocks and try and fix the blocks or try smash through the blocks. My approach is completely different. The old way is to see from the broken glasses, trying to fix the outside world. But the new way is to really question the glasses that you're wearing and the filters that you perceive your reality through and what is actually the truth behind those glasses. The new way is to question our perspective. You're not broken. It's your perspective that is. And so the new way is to really take off the glasses of lack so you can more clearly see your wholeness and be effective in your life and your health and serve in the purpose you're feeling called to do. Because I was coaching a woman who was really scared to make the leap in her business. And we really addressed the insecurity directly. And you can't create success from a lack perspective. It doesn't work. But she needed to see that. And she needed to target the story around her insecurities to then secure it. So it's not about fixing it. Otherwise, it would just be a missed opportunity and it will come up again and again and again. And it will leak into all other areas of your life, which is what it was doing. Right? So it's like you watching a movie and you don't like the movie you're seeing. You don't put the same movie on a different screen. That same movie will just keep showing up. So we need to break that pattern and get to the root of why that is showing up and where that is and clear that. And so blocks are really here to support you if you know how to work with them. If your blocks, as an example, are people pleasing, it's not about stopping the whole pleasing. It's just trying to find out what it's doing for you. And you'll see that it's innocently trying to support you. It's just using an ineffective approach that needs to be updated. So if people pleasing, if that's what your block is, that might be really trying to get you to feel safe or loved. And that's why you do it. And so this is an opportunity for you to really offer that directly to yourself. And it's a much more empowered way to live. And then you're in control of that. And then you're able to move and act from a completely different place to get that safety and love that that block really wanted for you. Because ultimately you both want the same things. It's just using an ineffective and outdated approach to get that for you. So we really need to unravel at the root versus trimming the top of the tree. And so I would love to hear from you. What thoughts or beliefs are holding you back and what is it wanting for you? Let's get engagement around this so I can really support you through that. We've got failure. Yep, we've got a bit of that. So what is it it's wanting for you? We really ask what that failure is wanting or what that people pleasing is wanting. What is it really wanting for you? What is the deeper intention behind it? It might be trying to protect you. It might actually want success for you. It might want you to receive acceptance or love. And then the next question is it working for you? Take a moment and write that down. Is it working for you? Is it giving you what that deeper desire is? And if it's not, what is a new way you can move forward to achieve that? So if my block is stress, as an example, and if I'm using stress to motivate me into action, a new strategy I can use is at the end of my workday, I will list 1, 2, 3 goals for the following day, right? And then that way I can feel like I'm on track and stress is not the one that's motivating me to do differently. So a new way you can test out using a new methodology. Super small, still supporting that part of you that is trying to help you in that deeper goal. And so it doesn't actually create blocks for you. So we want to use the block so it doesn't use you. And then be willing to test this out for 24 hours and see if that works for you. So one way you can feel love and re-strategize it in a way that will work for you. And so the freebie I have for you guys is a workbook around this. This is a really deep dive into this process. And that's really getting you unstuck and really overcoming the obstacles that are in your way. Because there are so many unconscious blocks that we don't even realize are there. And we consciously say we want something, but unconsciously we have this fear about it. And then there's this competing intention, right? There's two desires in conflict with one another. And so when you're not using your desire to compete, you'll feel more better. You'll be able to get out of your own way and really set yourself up. So you'll get this book in the email along with the replay after the workshop. And I've really developed this work over the last few years for you. Okay. Beautiful. Thanks, Christine. Really powerful way to move forward. My lack of belief is motivating me to find that belief. Be grand, exactly. Yes. So we just want to secure that. There is an easier, more direct way to change. So I'll just close this part. There's an easier, more direct way to change. And it starts with you and your thinking, because your life changes when you do. You don't need to work harder. You don't need to tell yourself any more stories about being motivated. You just need to get out of your own way, right? We don't need to use judgment to motivate us to do differently. And every time we take steps to what we want to create in our lives, the unconscious things that hold us back will come up. And sometimes we don't even know what is holding us back until we unlock them. So I had a client who really wanted to go to the next level of her success, and she kept hitting up against this block. And here's what we discovered. She discovered that if she was more successful, she wouldn't be happy in her relationship. She didn't even realize this belief was operating within her. And so how did that fear even come to be there? Back when she was younger, when her mum had gotten a promotion in her work, that was actually around the same time that she got a divorce. So she was unconsciously operating under the belief that she would have the same experience. And I had another one who worked in the way of health. So her health was very poor. And so as her health started to improve, she was scared to take steps toward her business and toward her success, because in the past she found that every time she worked hard or every time she got success, her health would decline. And so that pattern we saw, that was just a belief that wasn't even true. And so when we were able to identify that, we could take steps to be proactive toward securing her health while she was taking those steps to success. So if we don't highlight these things, it's going to create more stress, more work for us, and it's going to make it harder to bring about the change that we're wanting in our lives. If we don't do the inner work, we're just going to keep putting the same blocks and the same patterns onto different people and situations. And if we don't take strategic action, we're either going to go in the wrong direction or we're not going to get the results we're wanting. So the mind work is really about both. It's both soulful and practical, so you can really create success more gracefully and easily in your life. And be willing to question it. So the fear I have of wanting what I want is, and don't say there isn't, I know this is a little bit counterintuitive, but one fear I have of wanting what I want is, and really identifying that. If I get my goal, my fear is, but sometimes these things need more work. And so what that might look like is there's 3 assumptions of pain here. So you might fear that you'll lose something. Like my client thought she might lose her health, or the other one thought that she might lose her relationship. So loss typically might be, if I do this, I'll lose something I care for, that I'll not belong, or that I'll lose my support network, or something like that. So even those who are wanting to lose weight, the fear is that they're losing their coping mechanism. And the second thing that comes up around this is the process. People have fear of the process. They see the step, they see all of the steps, but they see one of them as way too hard, so they don't take the first step. Or I fear the process will take too long. I have no time, or I'm too busy, so why even try? That's another big thing that comes up. And then the third one is the outcome. They do all of the work, right? And that's very me. What will I look like if it doesn't work out? If I put my ass on the line and I go through all this struggle and I do all of this and I take all of the risks, what if I fail? What would that say about me? So I would love to hear from you around what comes up for you, because if you don't break the frame of loss, you will not get the gain. Let's just see what comes up. One fear of having what I want is, and write that down. See what comes up. My fear of having to do too much is telling me to simplify my life. Yes. Okay, but I feel like I'm failing at that. Okay, so we need to secure that first before we take those So we need to simplify your life. So, okay. So we really need to take steps toward that. But it's also questioning the simplifying. Let's see what Donna's got. My theory is being rejected, failing, being judged, mostly feeling rejected. Oh, yeah. Yes, it has, hasn't it? Okay, it's good. We need to highlight these things, right? Really good. Thanks for sharing. Fear that getting what I want will then just have me wanting something bigger and better. Great. Thanks for sharing, Amy. Yes. So it's like, when is success? When will enough be enough? Totally get that. That's actually a lot in perfectionism and those that are running the beliefs of I'm not good enough or I'm not enough. That's a big one. Okay, so I want you now, my fear is not being good enough. Yes, thank you, Deborah. Beautiful. So I want you to look at what you've just identified for me. And I want you to look at it and ask, can I absolutely know, right, without a shadow of a doubt, that I can't have this, that this is even true? Because when you start to become aware of these things, you start questioning the thought that it's not possible, that you start questioning the thought that you're going to fail, that you're going to be rejected. You get behind yourself. You feel your power and you can take action on what's actually true from there. You don't have to believe me, but be willing to test out the assumption. What is the misunderstanding you bought into? We don't even realize it's operating inside of us until we're aware. Awareness is where transformation happens. And from there, you can make self-loving choices to what's in front of you. This is an easier way to create the change you're wanting with more grace. So can I know without a shadow of a doubt that these beliefs are even accurate? Is it true? No. So what is truer? Are you willing to let this assumption go? So consistency is really key, and this is really diving in and creating that change with strategic action. So not just doing the inner, now that we've done that, it's also applying that. And then from that place, you're able to plug your energy leaks. And so money, because money, how you see money, and there's a lot of unconscious programming that we innocently bought into from our family, our culture. And it's innocent, but it can hurt. And it's really becoming aware of the misunderstanding. But essentially, how you see money is how you see yourself, is how you see your relationship, is how you see others. Because money is just plastic and paper. It's not even about money, right? So money is just a reflection of what we actually believe about ourselves. And that all boils down to how we see ourselves. And this is really getting engaged and getting to the root of those blocks. And this is where the inner alchemy happens. So the biggest symptoms of feeling exhausted and burnt out, like I said, simply means that your negative mind needs attention. So how do we relate to this mind? You can't suppress it or ignore it. You have to relate to it in a loving, compassionate, and supportive way, because the negative mind can wreak havoc on all areas of your life. And so the problem with this, it can manifest as kidney problems. It can manifest as hormonal problems. It can manifest as adrenal exhaustion, autoimmune disease, you name it. Beliefs will either help you or hinder you. And all beliefs are preceded by a decision. So based on an unhealthy decision, this is what we call the interpretation ladder. Based on an unhealthy decision, information can come in. There's neither good or bad out there. Nothing is good or bad. It's what we put meaning on or what we see that situation that makes it that. And so information can come in. And then we've put our interpretation on this. And from there, we've really identified, right? What have we made this mean about me? What does this say about me? I'm not good enough. What have you made this mean about you? That I'm a failure. Oh, this must mean that I'm rejected. Oh, because this has happened, it means that they don't love me or that I'm not accepted, right? Then from that, you've set the intention, and intentions aren't always positive. What do I want to do with this information, right? Oh, why even bother? Why even try? Oh, I'm not good enough. I won't even do that. Or I need to prove myself. I need to do better. I need to show that I am. Then from there, the initiative, you've acted on that. So this is where your capability or your worry to get it wrong or perfectionism can really play out. And so we really need to start at the bottom of that and work our way up. Because there's a difference between wanting to be safe, right, and your fear driving you. There's a difference between wanting to be loved and accepted and your fear actually driving you. These stories don't just come from now. These are outdated beliefs from a very young age. And if you're operating under those beliefs, then that's essentially your child pulling your strings. Because 95% of our mind is on autopilot. Only 5% are we even conscious of the day, and that's scary. 95% is operating from the first 7 to 8 years of our life, and this is what's pulling your string. And so we need to get to the root of that and reprogram those patterns in order for you to carve out those neural pathways. This isn't about changing habits. This is about really reprogramming that. And so the last strategy I want to share with you is the number one thing that will really almost guarantee your success. And this is flipping your fears from loss to gain. And in order for you to flip that, your conversation must switch from disempowered to owning your power. It's a moment-to-moment choice, because as you change internally, your life will reflect your choices. And in order to do that, you need to know which voice are you listening to, limitation or limitlessness. We have a choice moment to moment to realize that we are the authors of our stories and stand in and own our power and truth. We have a choice to move from the story of I can't to a more empowered way of thinking, which is I can or I choose not to. Let's be honest with ourselves, know our excuses, and find out what's really true. And so excuses, which is disempowered, and that's really amateur thinking, is I can't, I don't have time, I don't have the money. To be honest, if we want something, we don't let anything hold us back. You are so much more powerful than you realize. Two more empowered ways of thinking, which is master thinking. I can, I'll make the time, I'm resourceful, or I can create the income, or I choose not to. Blocks will always come up, but who you decide to be will make the difference. And it starts right now with a choice. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. This moment is where all your power is. Most fear is simply bad management of the mind. And so reminders really trigger better behaviors. Putting reminders in your phone, put it on post-it notes, put it on your mirror, put it on your vision board. Always have the intention with how you're showing up in the world. This is your weapon to make you awesome, right? Set the intention. Who do you want to be? So in NLP, we really embody the qualities that we want to be and be that now. So if it's confidence, really stepping into that and owning that. I use doorways as my triggers. So every time I walk through a doorway, I leave my story at the door and I'm embodying that power, that leader, that confidence, right? You can use things that will really trigger those behaviors. You need that. And this is where mindfulness come in. Mindfulness is really remembering that there is a choice, remembering that there is a loving alternative. Any pain, anything that's coming up is just feedback that you're going the old way. So if we can use all of that as feedback, you're able to go to that new way. So to overcome the process and really honor the process is going to help you stand in your strength. You're going to feel more comfortable in yourself and really fully come alive. And just letting yourself imagine that, to get clear in your vision, to break down what it is you really want, and having that accountability to call you forward toward that. This is embodying a new way of leadership and thinking about what happens in your health, your relationships, in your life, and embodying that now. Feel that in your body. You're not waiting for the future to give you something you already have, right? It's really about getting to the root of that by moving beyond them, and have fun creating your dreams. You're here to do beautiful things in the world. And as you say yes to that, you will rise into the person you're being called to stand forward as. So it's doing the inner and outer work together with the right mentorship will really create that success you're wanting. It's a faster and easier way. And so Tanya, she works in corporate banking, and she came to me as she'd been suffering from depression for a very long time. On top of that, she was feeling depleted and really unable to speak up for herself and stand in her truth and just express how she felt with those around her. She was the biggest people pleaser. What everybody else wanted, she just did, right? And it was just unconscious. She didn't even realize she was running. She always put herself last. So after taking her through this process, she really started to see the results from our first week together. And we really worked on changing her mindset and unraveled those limiting beliefs at the core. And it was only then that her life outside truly changed. And now her life has totally been transformed. She has learned so much that's just second nature to her life. But this is what we can gain through just shifting those little patterns of thinking, right? We can take emphasis off the mind. The mind is a great tool, but there's a lot of thinking, a lot of fear-based thinking, a lot of future tripping, all anxiety, all any of those things are really, all of it is that you're future thinking, you're preempting things that haven't even happened yet. Or even going to your past and taking the experience and projecting that into the future. And this locks us into a certain identity. And I work with a lot of clients around this. Their heart says, I want to do this, but their mind says, you can't do that because that doesn't fit the identity that I know of who you are. So our mind can really hold us back. Okay, so we'll do that next. So really about merging your head and your heart so that it becomes one, so that you're able to really follow your heart. So I'll just do another poll and see where you're at around your mindset. I would love for you to answer these for me. You know it's signs, you know it's time for an upgrade when you have these signs. Is your self-talk negative and you have the not enough lack perspective? Do you worry about everything? Do you have high expectations that are stressing you out? Do you have self-doubt and lack of confidence? Wow, we've got a lot of yeses. Huge. This is huge, guys. I'm so happy that we're doing this. Really, really happy to be here doing this with you guys. I'll just wait a couple more seconds just to see if any other answers come in. Here we go. Okay, I'll just share this with you so you can see. You're not alone. You guys are all in this together. Okay. Okay, so let's make the mind the servant of the heart, right? Let's put the heart in charge. And whatever the heart desires, the mind says, okay, I'm going to help you make that happen, versus suppressing you and saying you can't have it. And that's what a lot of us struggle with, the mind that is critical and negative and unsupportive. And when we can slow that down, we become more in charge of what we're thinking and what thoughts we're giving power to. And a lot of this is becoming more mindful, becoming more aware and seeing, oh, there is that thought again. There's that story again. There's that pattern that is coming from when I was 5 years old. And when you can see it, you can step out of it and you can choose something different. Right? Okay, so which leads me to step 4. Embracing who you are. And this is really building that strong relationship with yourself, a new improved belief system. We want to generate that balance of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. It's on all levels. It's not just one. And so it starts with authentic happiness, because this is really where it's created from the inside out. It's a sense of joy, a sense of contentment, fulfillment that arises within you, without anything outside of you triggering that. Most of us get our happiness backward. We think the internal experience of happiness that we all crave comes from having things on the outside. And then life becomes like a treadmill. We keep searching endlessly for all these things that will make us happy, and we'll never find it. Self-love will emerge naturally once you've released everything you have been told and believed about yourself that is not true. How do we do that? We do that through self-care. That's one of the things. Self-care is a form of self-love. It's a way of nourishing yourself deeply, wholly, and completely. It is a practice of meeting your own needs, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. When you feel nourished, you'll need less from the external world as you're filling up your own cup. You need less from your partners, your friends, your jobs to make you happy because you know how to make you happy. So nourishing yourself physically is really about tuning into your body. Like I said in the first step, really being in tune and listening to that. Letting it communicate to you. To get to the next level, you must start taking care of yourself. Right? All high performers, all of them, do so many things on a physical level that will really help them perform at the optimal level that they are able to today. The next is really about mental, like I said. But this is really about thinking thoughts that are positive, supportive, and kind. So thoughts that make you feel good. It's about choosing to be peaceful in stressful situations. It's about thinking before you speaking. It's about coming from that place where you're in that awareness, right? Nourishing yourself emotionally is really about allowing yourself to feel whatever is going on for you. And this is the biggest problem that we are facing today. We're all repressing, suppressing, avoiding, ignoring, and they're major blocks to awareness. So it's really allowing everything to come up and feeling whatever is going on for you. You cannot change what you can't see. Nourishing yourself spiritually is really about having the daily practices that reconnect you with your truth and with yourself. So this is not religious. This is what gives drive. This is what gives momentum. This is what gives you that fire in your belly to fulfill your contract here. This is really reconnecting to the truth of who you really are. This is where we are dropping out of your head and into your heart. So this is where we interrupt the pattern, where we consciously choose to slow down, do something that will really nurture and support us, that will calm our mind and that will help us. Because the very moment you don't want to take a break because you think you have no time is the very moment where you need to take that break. If you want to go faster, you need to slow down. I promise you, this is where everything will be much more efficient and aligned on all levels. And so what are the things that will help you slow down? What are the things that will help you do just that on a mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual level? Let's share. And I want to encourage you because I have this big, abundant toolkit that resets my entire nervous system. And I would suggest you write a full page, if not more, of things that will really help you and really fill you up on that deeper level. What's going to meet your needs, which are love, which is joy, which is acceptance, which is belonging, which is recognition, which is validation, because ultimately that's all we're looking for outside of us. That's all we're really wanting, right? These things will really help us stop looking outside of ourselves and looking inside. These is what will help us feel supported. And that will help you feel more spacious. It's not about adding more to your plate, right? You're balancing what others need with what you need for yourself. This is what work-life balance essentially means. So let's just see what comes up with the shares. Just realized that my fear is actually my story, that I will get judged and feel not good enough. Yes, Irini. Yes, thank you. Very beautiful. See, really, really nice highlight. Saying no to more and being okay with that. Excellent, Amy. Yes, we're such people pleasers. We say yes when we really want to say no. And that's just so depleting. Anybody else want to share? We need to take responsibility. Stop being a doormat and start owning our worth. It's only when we own our own worth that other people will respect that and, you know, have that respect toward us. Because we teach people how we want to be treated. So I've got yoga, I've got dancing, I've got walking, I've got listening to music. That's so nourishing for me. I take a bath. I give myself, I go to the beach. For me, on a spiritual level, I need beach because the water, my soul needs that water. Awesome, Lukey. Really beautiful thought. It's okay to have fear. Use that to grow. Yes, I love that. Love that, S. Really beautiful reframe around that. We love our fear. Our fear is our compass showing us where to go. It's really redirecting us, right? It's beautiful. It's about leaning in, because on the other side of that is where your freedom and confidence is. Really, really beautiful. Thanks for sharing, guys. So yes, this is also about really embracing self-love. It's not selfish. And I have a lot of clients that like to say selfish in a good way. I need to be more selfish, right? Not as a bad way. Self-choosing is a necessity. You cannot give to others if you're not giving from within. And so during all of this, you're going to get another fear that comes up. And that's a speeding up energy. Any speed up energy that comes from fear. So when you want to slow down, this fear that's going to come up is going to say, oh, no. We have this. We have to meet this. We have to do this. We have so much on our plate, right? And so what will get in the way of you doing that is your self-worth. And so some of that fears might be that you won't get things done, that you'll fall behind, that you won't meet those deadlines, that you'll earn less money. You've got this worst case scenario about bad things happening, right? And so I want you to notice the fear that comes up, because that is the backlash from the mind. That is the backlash from the negative thinking that we just went through. And then we're living from fear all the time. What if those things didn't happen? If you were falling behind on a deadline, if that week you made a little bit less money than you normally do so that you would feel more nourished and more free, would you be okay? What if you took 30 minutes for yourself and your mind judged you as lazy? Would you be okay? So you're not reacting from it. You're able to witness what's coming up, and then you can choose to follow that or not, right? You can say, no, this is what I need right now so that I can be best for everyone else. It's important to take some downtime and take care of you. You not only deserve it, but when you're feeling rested and recharged, you'll accomplish so much more and support others better. It's not selfish, because you're actually having more of you to give. Okay, so I want to really encourage you to create that self-care practice for yourself. Right, so I'll run another poll here just to see where we're at around that. If you guys do have this. So do you guys have self-honoring practices and choices that support you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? Yes or no? Just so I can see where you're at. And I'll share a really beautiful story with you guys. Okay. So some of us do, most of us don't. I'll just share that. And so those of you who do, you can up that. So think about how you can up that to really support you, especially with these blocks that we've just done to move forward. Cool. Okay, so this is really beautiful client of mine. I really loved working with Jade, and I'm still actually working with her. But when I first started with her, she was really struggling big time. She had high anxiety. I mean, she would preempt attacks while she's in the car, to the point where she wouldn't feel safe anywhere. She couldn't even go into a supermarket without having a panic attack. And she is a manager in her field, big manager, and she had so much on her plate, and she was just suffering from poor health. She had autoimmune disease, very unhappy within herself, zero confidence. No one knew this, guys. This was all like under this, we don't see these things. It's all invisible, right? But her harsh inner critic was on full volume. And so working with me, Jade really learned how to release those emotions that rose to the surface. And we used a lot of techniques to release her. She learned a really beautiful, solid relationship with herself. And when we create that positive change, that had that ripple effect across her relationship and her work. I mean, she's healed all of her limiting beliefs. She's feeling incredibly confident now. She even had meeting where she showed up so powerfully in a room full of 30 men, and she owned it, and she won an $18 billion project. And so this is really, really, I just love her, and that's her little kid. I love how she brings her 2-year-old into her work. There's no blocks here. You can get your family involved if that's what it is for you. Really cool. Okay, so we're running out of time. So I'll go into the last step to really bring this home for you guys. Step 5 is really emerging into your wholeness, because as you embrace yourself, you will emerge into the completeness and wholeness and greatness of who you are. And this will really help you elevate your impact. And so now that we've moved you out of your head and you've learned ways in which you can nourish yourself, this is really learning to live from your heart and following that. And this is really about having the courage to align to your truth and who you are, and the confidence to move through your life in a new way. And the difference between courage and comfort is you know where you want to be, but you're not being there. And out of clarity comes courage, and courage is the game changer for everything in your life, because the more courageous you become, the more clearer your decisions. You really know what you're after. Because the thing is, you have your whole life in front of you. You can reach optimum everything in your life when you have the courage to choose for your life and who you are. All of these things will align for you. And something I want to share around Brené Brown, and she shared something to Oprah on one of the Super Soul Sunday sessions. I really love that podcast. So if you can get on that, that would be really awesome. But she says there is courage and there is comfort. You can have one or the other, but you can't have both. So this is really about you choosing now. And we're running out of time. So I'll just touch a little on living from the heart and following from that. Because we're so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answers, when really, if we ask the right questions, we can hear our own wisdom. We tend to really rely on our mind-based knowing, and that's one way of knowing. I'm not saying it's not, but if we're only relying on that, we're limited. We're not a head, guys. We're a body as well. Your body is constantly communicating to you, constantly. I work with so many women who are living like this. And when I ask, how do you feel about that? They don't even know. Where does that sit in your body? They don't know. We're so disconnected from it. And so there are other ways of knowing. There's actually a really beautiful company in California called HeartMath. And they actually scientifically prove that there is an intelligence in the heart that is prior to the brain. And so we're scientifically starting to catch up, improve these other ways of knowing. And so I want to really make sure you have these on board. I'm going to share with you 3 specific ways you can start paying attention from a different place that's not your head. And so one of them is really your heart energy. Your heart communicates from the energy of love. This is where it feels abundant, where it's full of possibility, where it's unconditional, where there's no judgment there. There is no right or wrong. There is just trust, right? And there's just this calm presence there. And so the heart is really a compass to guide you to what you love, what will bring you joy, what will light you up in your life. Your mind will tell you what will make sense, what's practical, what you should do, what's logical, right? But your heart is what will make you come alive. This is how you know the difference. This is what will bring out the best version of you. This is what will make life fulfilling to you. And so you can even put your hand on your heart and you can ask, please show me the loving thing I can do in this moment. And that it will communicate from there. And the second is really understanding your body's wisdom. Your body communicates through pain, through emotion, through discomfort. That's your messenger. That's speaking to you. And I work with a lot of clients around using pain as feedback that life is inviting them to redirect. That's old way, this is new way. And so if you can use that, this will really help you move forward in a beautiful way. And so when you say yes to something and then immediately you feel heavy afterward, that's your body, that's your truth saying no. You took that on because you should. We don't should anything around here. right? It needs to feel light. It needs to feel expansive. A no is shut down, contracted, tight. And the third is about intuition. And this is also communicating through your body, through your emotions, or through your energy. But it really comes with a solid gut knowing. It's like you've got this experience where you just know. I don't know if any of you guys feel that. It's this space of knowing. There's no logic to it. You just have this certainty to it. And it might be scary or whatever, but you just know this is something you need to do or say no to, or is this right for me? Right? And that's another way. And so a way to really know the difference between your intuition and your mind, this is what will help. Your intuition will speak first, right? So this will say yes, and you'll have that feeling of yes. Then your mind will hear it and you'll overthink it. So this is what is your inner guide? This is what your inner guide is telling you. And then your mind is saying, oh, no. And just look at that separately and see if that helps, because this will really help you differentiate between the two, because many get stuck with, oh, they don't know what to do. So it's really about separating the two and seeing what was first rather than getting blurred and confused. Okay. Beautiful, Julia. She is an absolute gem. So before we started working, Julia actually never even picked up a paintbrush. She is an artist. She's an art therapist, and she is such an incredible blessing in this world. And she just had a lot of fear, a lot of stuff coming up, and she really didn't have that courage to follow her heart. We did the work, and her art, she's just done 2 exhibitions, and her things are demonstrated everywhere. She's painting, she's really following her dreams and really stepping into what she loves and feeling called to do and really getting paid to do it. So it's just really, really beautiful witness of everything that I spoke about with you guys today. So I'll just do another poll and we'll see what comes up for you guys around this final step. Just a couple of questions to gauge where you're at for yourselves. So do you take action? Do you consistently express who you truly are, what you truly think, need and desire with the world? And that's all about courage. And is your mind in the present moment? Are you at peace and aligned with what your heart and soul truly longs for? It's really, really beautiful that you guys are owning this and so honest and present to what's coming up for you. Thank you. It's really, really beautiful. Okay, I'll just wait a couple more seconds. I'll share. So most of you have said no. Okay, so I've hoped that this has helped you really identify 1, 2, 3 insights that you can really take to move forward in this. But over the past hour, what we've covered is so much that I tried to really squeeze in for you. I know that we're on a time limit, but really about envisioning your life, but energizing first. So energy is first. I had that backward, but really envisioning your life and what you're being called to step into in 2019, and going there and moving through your blocks and the limiting beliefs and shifting all the stress, the struggle, the anxiety that's coming up for you. When we really transform your pain into power, and from there really generating that vitality and balancing you on all 4 levels. I'll just close the poll. Sorry, you guys, I keep doing that. And then from there, creating the authentic happiness and living from your heart so that you're able to create a foolproof plan for success moving forward. This is just the tip of the iceberg. What we've learned today is just a fraction of what I have to offer, but what you learn by investing in a coach or mentor is really huge, and you need to find some way to make this change, otherwise it won't work. Most people go it alone, especially women. Women have this thing about, no, I need to look like I have it all together, or I need to have it together. And they try to figure out themselves without realizing there are people in the world who are experts, right? Just invest in someone and get the changes you want. So find the best mentor out there, spend what it takes to work with them. Otherwise it will just be a bunch of tools and nothing more. I would not be half the woman I am today without my incredible mentor. Don't expect anything less than the best to help you change. And so as a bonus for you, my second offer today is I'm offering complimentary breakthrough sessions for those of you who have joined me. So you can go to happinesslifestyle.com.au. We have only just managed to update that page in time for this. You'll see a Rise and Thrive banner. You can click the apply and you can schedule a session in through there. Or if it's easier for you, just email me directly at rosie@happinesslifestyle.com.au. So we'll really be able to help you dive deeper into everything we spoke about, and just so that you can up-level the things that you want in your life. So if this speaks to you, you're more than welcome to take this up. There's no catch with it. I'm just making myself available to coach you personally. But I find I'm going to open it up for questions in a moment. And if any of you guys have any questions, please feel free to share now. But I find people thrive in a community, and it really helps us to play at the top of our game, and really where we're supported and we're feeling celebrated and connected. We're showing up with accountability, and we show up so much more powerfully and prioritize ourselves. Permission to say yes and accept all parts of ourselves is part of this. And we're not alone. We're really all in this together. You saw that for yourselves just by being open and honest and sharing with each other. Really being strategic, really feeling focused and focusing on your goals and moving things faster than you can on your own. This is what we do. And I'm sharing with you the keys to success, and I want you to have this. So this is not information, this is transformation. It's not a cookie cutter model. So I want to invite you. 95% of everybody that attends workshops, they just go and then they don't do anything. And I want you guys to be the top 5% that will actually take something and do something today, right? So otherwise, if you only do what you've always done, you're always going to get the results you've gotten. So I want to invite you to share 1, 2, 3 things that you're going to take today that you're going to implement in your life moving forward. Right? And I want to be clear, no more waiting to be ready. No more stories that are holding you back. This is your time. You have the power to make a decision and show up for them. You have a choice. Doubt dissolves in action. Make your decisions based on inspiration, not fear, moving forward. No more excuses. I see way too many not have a clear plan, spend way too much time in indecision. They're not focused. They don't take consistent action. So I want to encourage you to do that, right? So let me know what small step you can take from what you learned today, because life will meet you at your place of action. You are truly your best investment.